In this room?
He was in this room for The Incredibles this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
That's a big day for us.
I don't believe I've met Joe.
Yeah.
Though I'm a fan.
And so, Robert, before the folks are getting ready there to ask questions, but I have to ask you, how's things going on Avengers? Does anybody want to know about that? So we killed it,
Well, I hate everybody. I'm not talking about the cast. I'm not talking about Joss. What I mean is I tend to, and John, you can probably attest to this, I tend to look at a scene and say, this is absolutely impossible. We can't shoot this. It's horrible. I can tell you 10 of the movies has been and I refused to. I usually start off the morning by refusing to do what I signed on to do. And so I brought that attitude, happily. Anyway, I just thought, how are you going to put all of us clowns together? And he's wearing a suit, and he's all jacked up, and he's so-and-so, and poor Mark Ruffalo isn't going to fucking do us. And we're about 6 weeks in, and I have to say, Joss Whedon is nailing it, and he's so smart. And so good. And it's going to be great. I can't believe I just said it. I never could have believed it. It's going to be great.
Outstanding. All right, let's take a couple quick questions. Hey.
Hi. First off, this is the second Q&A I've been to, and the first one I got to ask a question was from Edgar Wright. So, hey, Edgar, was that the New Beverly?
Stop.
Would you like to ask Edgar another question?
And then I also got here because I wrote an 18-syllable haiku that I sent.
Oh, good, thank you.
I was the genius who did the 18-syllable haiku.
Very good.
No,
You-
17.
You did a 17-syllable haiku as well.
Yeah, I shortened it out, so.
Good job. You got it in under the wire. That was Jeff's idea, was to have a haiku contest for a few free tickets for this, and which works out well for Twitter. Haiku is got the right length.
There you go.
You can't do, an ode or anything.
Very
And my question is, between Iron Man 1 and 2, is there any story?
I'm sorry, that's 17 syllables.
Oh.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I gotta Twitter shorten this one. In the either movies, were there any story elements or plots that you really wanted to do, but the higher ups are like,
Oh, sure. Yes. We wanted to open up Iron Man 2 with Tony waking up, looking over, seeing that he's laying next to Pepper Potts and they just slept together, and
Yeah.
just being really freaked out, like, what's he gonna do? That was in the works.
Yes, we had another one that we shot, which is over, like, the Marvel logos going, Pepper, I'm dying. Tony, no, we have to. He goes, I'm not gonna make it. And we cut to the back of a transport, like a C-17 or something, and he's puking in a toilet and he's too hungover to do the mission. It was an awesome opening.
Yes.
Why did you cut it?
There was a lot of, although we had a lot of creative freedom, now all of a sudden there was something to protect. And the studio was very well established, and there was definitely an Avengers agenda, there was a Tony Stark agenda, and there were all these other movies that were being developed that we didn't really, and then the Hulk was also, there was the Hulk ending, right, that I was like, how did I work that into Iron Man 2?
We're putting a team together, even though Nick Fury is going to tell me he doesn't want me to be on the team. But I'm here selling it to you.
So I remember that Hulk premiere, I'm like, well, how do I work that into Iron Man 2? And then Kevin was like, it's okay, it's a comic book, it could be out of continuity.
This is a hockey team.
It's interesting because all this stuff, it can be kind of smothering at some point, the Marvel Universe, because, you have different directors with different, Edgar's going to be doing an Ant-Man movie and all these guys, absolutely, but I can see it becoming restrictive in a lot of ways. It's interesting.
It is, I think different things, it depends where you connect to the material, and it was always, for me it's always about the people. And if I understand what the people are dealing with and the as-if of what that situation is, if Tony Stark, after his party and he destroys his house for fighting with Rhodey, is like a guy who hits rock bottom and falls off the wagon and has to talk to a sponsor, I get that.
Yeah.
I could make that scene. If it's people, if it's in the, if I don't have that kite string, every actor, I work from that perspective as a filmmaker. So that's where I connect. Anyone else?
Next question. Where are you from? Say your name.
Hi, my name's Jeremy. I live in LA, and my question is, I read that Elon Musk was used as sort of real-world inspiration for Tony Stark, and I was just really fascinated by that, and I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about that.
Elon Musk was your connection.
Elon Musk, yeah. Well, he was just someone that we were talking to because, he literally is a rocket scientist. And then when, he spent an afternoon with me, and we were down looking at his, putting together these Falcon engines and stuff. I was like, is there anything I could do to you? He said, I'd like to be invited to a debauched Hollywood party. But no, anyway, recently, I think now people are coming back to him and saying, so they based Iron Man on you, which isn't entirely true. And he said, no, I'm taking my children to Disneyland, or something like that. I read that article.
That's all you get.
Hi.
It wasn't an answer, but.
More slice of life.
Yeah. I'm Chris. I'm from North Hollywood, and I just had a question for Robert.
What's up, no hope?
I really loved your movie Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Talk a little bit either about that or about how Shane Black is coming on for Iron Man 3.
What?
Right. What? Well, hold on. Can you give me 5 minutes, Shane? Here's the first thing I want to say. The most difficult part of making Iron Man 3 is going to be negotiating Jon Favreau's acting deal.
If the freak isn't in it, I'm not doing it. If Happy Hogan doesn't turn into the freak,
That is what I'm
that is
picturing.
for Happy Hogan. Yeah, he marries Pepper Potts and turns.
Wait a minute, you want both?
I want a love scene with Pepper Potts with my shirt on, and I want to.
The negotiations have begun, and so far I'm in agreement on every point. Well, Shane, interestingly enough, there was a point when John and I were stuck on an idea, or we were just in an exploratory phase. And I said, Shane from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which again, the lovely and ever talented, and wearing a new sweater that looks hot, Susan Downey produced. So we said, we should talk to Shane. And I was like, Shane, I can't really pay you. He goes, bring me some salmon and some blueberries. And we went to Yoda's house, Miracle Mile, and it wound up coming in handy, particularly for a couple scenes. And so what I can say about this kind of circle of life thing is that Shane, as he's getting into the process and getting his sea legs and stuff, he goes, when can we go talk to John? So there's going to be this kind of conglomerate of efforts moving forward.
And I love the franchise, and I'm a big fan of Shane's as well. So hopefully I could be helpful, and because I want to see this thing grow and transform. And actually, when that's where when it finally landed on Shane, it was like, all right, that's going to be something interesting, and especially it's going to be so difficult for whoever does that one, because although it's Iron Man 3, the whole Avengers thing, I guess in comics you could say that it's an individual storyline and you could break it off into a group. But in movies, it's hard not to take into consideration what just happened. When you say they all lost their cell phones and you can't get help, So it's going to take a lot of ingenuity to make it make sense to a mainstream film audience as well as a comic book audience.
Sure. But again, the toughest part of Iron Man 3 will be Jon Favreau's day rate. It's going to be huge. I'm going to see that they pay it.
Get your own Slurpee cup.